Hello everybody, it's Clooney, and I'm back at it again with a little video. Today I'm just going to give my honest opinions on Cube World, because Cube World has finally released in closed beta, and that's really interesting because the game has had a very weird reception, not the reception that I was expecting. So, honestly, I'm gonna be real here. I don't think the game is bad by any stretch of the imagination. To say that this game is bad is doing it a disservice. What I think the game is confusing and new and hasn't really been explained at all. It doesn't really have that much of a tutorial, and it doesn't really explain anything within the game itself. Now, that itself is not very good for the game, but I think that it's excusable given that the nature of the game is to explore. A lot of the problems that I hear people bitching about is just things that they could fix, honestly, with a small bug fix, with, like, say, tweaking health, for example. Because a lot of the problems I see is the game's too hard, enemies kill me too fast, etc., etc. And that's, like, that again, this is why the game's in beta. It's to be tested for a little bit, maybe tweak some of these values, and then fix them. But then there are some people who are actually upset about the game's main systems, such as the gear being locked to regions, which is a very fair thing to be upset about. I think that that's kind of a stupid change as well. And I think that that should be fixed and changed, and I have a whole video that I'm going to talk about how to fix this, actually, and potentially how to make this a better system. Now, the main problem that I have with the game so far is that the game is just it's easy to get lost in, and for some people it's really easy to just not be sure how to even do anything, because you get into an area and you're trying to find quests and all that, and it's just like you can't do it. You just can't find anything. Sorry about the cars, by the way. I'm recording this with my window open because I just had to fog my whole room for fucking bugs, because the window was open and the fucking flies got in, the screen popped up. It was a big deal. Anyway, off topic. The game itself has a lot of issues that I think are very minor, or just like people getting used to the new game and people being so hyped for it. I think people expected Cube World Alpha, but with more stuff, rather than a whole new game. Because Wally said openly, this is going to be a whole new game. This is like a whole new experience. And I will say that Cube World is okay. I don't want to say that it's a masterpiece. And I think that it's funny that the tag is in the actual game store page still says masterpiece, probably. But honestly, the game is just, it is what it is. It's a game that has been radically changed over 6 years, as any game would be in a long development cycle like that, and that's just, fair and understandable. What makes the game bad, in my opinion, is just how certain systems are handled, and I'll talk about that more in another video. But my first impressions, though, are if you liked Cube World and you're willing to learn a whole new game and get to experience a whole new game and sort of experiment, by all means, go ahead, play this game. It's probably going to be right up your alley. I would, again, say, like, this game is not for the faint of heart, though, because it is hard, and the early game, you will die a lot. You will die a whole lot, and that's going to make the game harder, but I think that in the end, there's certain aspects of the game that are still charming and fun to play. And I think that everyone should give it a try. Now, I'm not saying that anyone who disagrees with me and says this game is bad is invalid, but what I do want to say is this. We've had the game for less than a day. You can't really judge a game until you've really played enough of it to get a feel for the full scope of the game. That's like saying that the tutorial level is bad because it's too easy, and then you quit the game, and then you go and play something else instead of playing that game to its fullest extent. Granted, there's a point that's the breaking point, and I imagine that a lot of people have hit their breaking points already, because dying in a game is not fun, especially when the punishment for dying is having to get sent back to a spawn point and then trying to find more spawn points, and that's just like a whole other mess of the game. But like, the actual combat is fun. I really like how the game's designed in sort of like, it's still sort of like a hack and slash, but it's got a lot more depth to it. And there's a lot more like, I need to find a place where I can grind properly. But the problems that arise from that whole system just sort of, they look you back in the face after a little bit, but I'm willing to say, during my live play, I'll explain more of these issues, and I'll make a video explaining how to fix most of these issues later on, probably this next week, around Friday. So, expect that video to come out around Friday. But yeah, that's just how I think of this video, or how I think of this game, and I think it's a good game. I think it's worth it, but I also think that the game needs some polishing still. It still needs to be polished a little bit better, and still needs to have that feel to it that makes the game, I guess, progression fun, which is kind of missing a little bit, because I feel like I haven't made any progress in the 2 hours that I played. But that could just be me. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Have a great day. I will be probably uploading a episode of me playing Cube World later today, but yeah, have a good one.